Today we will discuss about RBI, Reserve Bank of India, and we will also discuss about the history of RBI, the structure, and the members who are in the RBI. And when we talk about history, it's always good to start from the beginning. What was happening in the year of 1919? There were so many banks in India. And the main point is there was not a single government bank. All the banks were private bank. And the private bank has all control and they even started frauding to the customers. So there were so many complaints about such frauds. So government decided, okay, we have to come up with a plan. So they created a committee in 1920. And so in 1920, a committee has been created. And the committee name is Hilton Young Committee. And it has another name called Royal Commission. And they had given responsibility to the committee that to find out a solution, okay, how they can control the banks. And committee has come up with a solution. And the committee said that, we have to create a bank. And the responsibility of that bank should be to control all other banks, not function as a normal bank. And in 1926, they decided to start the RBI. And the RBI Act passed in 1934. And what is that Act? Act is nothing but what a bank should do and a bank should not do. And it is not a government undertaking bank, or it has its own rules and regulations. And in 1935, April 1st, the RBI got established. And in the initial capital of RBI was 5 crore. There was a question asked in the previous year, who has contributed to RBI as an initial capital? That is private investors. So this question can be asked in the future. So you can make a note of that as well. And when it is established, the headquarters was in Kolkata. And in 1937, they have changed the headquarters to Mumbai. So it can also be a question in future. So which year RBI has changed his headquarters and from where to which place? So this question also can be asked. You can have a note of that also. And an important point is, when RBI is established, it was a private bank. Government still has no control on it. And in 1949, RBI got nationalized. And when we talk about nationalization, why it's got nationalized? What is the reason for it? So we have to understand what is it. And in 1947, after the independence, government had to make developments in the country. And mainly, and at that point of time, 90% of population was in the rural area. And government did not have any money to develop. So government has only one option, to send those private banks to the rural area, to open a branch in those area and give loan to the people. So maybe as an education loan, maybe as a, the land loan, housing loan, so that when they get money, they start developing it. So there will be a gradual developing process will take place. But even today, even 2021, we know that none of the private banks are there in our villages. So they are not ready to go to villages and to make developments. So the government told the banks, but banks are not ready to go. So the government approached the RBI and they decided to have a control on RBI. Another important point is about the RBI Financial Year. Till last year, the RBI Financial Year was July to June. And recently, in last year, they have changed the financial year to April to March. So you need to have a very important note of that, because even in if it was in the last year, okay, we would have mentioned about our financial year, RBI financial year, to be July to June, and it has changed recently, that is yesterday, from 2021. So you need to make an important note of that, and it may ask in the exams also. Okay, the recent when it is being changed, which financial year it may got changed. So it has changed from 2021 financial year 2021. It RBI financial year has been changed from July to June to April to March. And now we will talk about the members, RBI board members. There are 21 board members in the RBI, one governor, and he is our 25th governor of Reserve Bank of India, Sri Shaktikanand Das. So you would be knowing that. And there are four deputy governors. I will just name out those names: Mr. Rajesh Rao, MD Patra, Mahesh Kumar Jain, and BP Kanunga. And the important point is Mr. BP Kanunga retired recently in April 4th. So at the moment we have only 3 deputy members. You need to make a very important note of that, because even though we have 4 deputy members, still we have at the moment only 3 of them. And there are 2 members from the finance ministry. I'll just name out the name. You can make a note of that also. One, Mr. Ajay Seth and Ajay Bhushan Pandey. He is a finance secretary of India. And there are 10 members appointed by the government of India. And 4 directors are the local body. And when we say about local body, we have a headquarters in Mumbai. And we have 4 zonal offices. One is in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata. And each zonal office has a head of the department, a director. And that director is the local body. So you would be knowing who are the 4 other local body members.